I have previously detailed how some of the early proponents of the 2012 theories claimed to receive the information that made them famous from various types of non-human spiritual entities. For example, in the 2012 Deception presentation and in How 2012 Will Lead to Genocide, I mentioned how David Wilcock received his 2012 information from an entity that he channels named Ra. It seems that this contact with extra-dimensional entities is not unique with David Wilcock. It's actually epidemic among the founders of 2012. So let's take a look at a few examples. Number one is Jose Arguelles. Arguelles is the guy who pretty much started it all. He's the guy who's accredited with coming up with the December 21st, 2012 date from the Mayan calendar. So in many ways he's the father of 2012. Jose now wants to be called Valem Votan, which apparently means closer of the cycle. He made this change to his name essentially because, as he explains on his webpage entitled Votan Lives in Arguelles, Arguelles is Dead, that he has been receiving so many prophetic messages from this long-dead Mayan priest named Pakal Votan, who died in 683, that he just decided to go ahead and do away with his other identity altogether. Arguelles explains in another place how this revelation of 2012 came to him from Votan. He says, the source of this revelation is Pakal Votan, AD 603 to 683, whose tomb was dedicated in 692. My journey began in 1953, 1 year after the discovery of Pakal Votan's tomb on June 15th. I received visions concerning the dates of the end of the ninth hell. From this vision came the conception of the harmonic convergences global meditation, which commemorated the conclusion of the prophecy of Quetzalcoatl and signaled the final countdown to winter solstice AD 2012. Number two is Terence McKenna. Terence McKenna was a brilliant speaker and something of a poster boy for DMT, which is a hallucinogenic substance found in South and Central America, used by shamans to contact the spirit world. I recently did an interview with Dr. Future that looked into the phenomena of DMT, among other substances, in regards to their facilitating contact with the spirit world. In 1971, McKenna and his brother performed something of a ritual in the Amazon, trying to, quote, fuse DMT and psilocybin to DNA. This ritual left his brother psychotic for about a week, but it sent Terence into a sleepless trip, which he had some very deep conversations with what he called the Logos. This voice, which was audible, told him information about how to use the Chinese divination tool, the I Ching, to, quote, map time. He subsequently commissioned a computer program using this information that apparently calculated what Terence would call an infinitely novel event that was supposed to happen in 2012. It's interesting to note, though, that actually Terence set the point of his program at December 21st, 2012 after he heard of Jose Arguelles' December 21st, 2012 date, so it wasn't actually calculated at all, but rather chosen. McKenna related at the Open Center, quote, the mushroom, or the Logos, informed him that what you call man, we call time, and suggested that he take a very close look at the I Ching. This is significant because this event impacted McKenna's core philosophy significantly. He was always talking about the eschaton and how the end of the world would be this singularity event that we were all going towards, and it really all stemmed from his 71 experience with this voice, the Logos. He almost single-handedly made 2012 rise to prominence in the early days because of his absolutely brilliant speaking ability, which actually he attributes to the Logos as well. And for those of you who are familiar with McKenna's famous silver tongue, you might be interested in this quote, which attributes his verbal prowess to possession by the Logos in 1971. He says, after the experiment at La Correa, I had apparently evolved into some sort of mouthpiece for the incarnate Logos. I could talk to small groups of people with what appeared to be electrifying effect about particularly transcendental matters that you will read about in these pages. It was as though my ordinary, rather humdrum personality had simply been turned off, and speaking through me was the voice of another, a voice that was steady, unhesitating, and articulate, a voice seeking to inform others about the power and promise of psychedelic dimensions. Number 3 is Daniel Pinchbeck. You may have seen this guy on TV. He's one of the usual suspects that the History Channel, Discovery Channel, etc. use to promote 2012 theories. He's always presented as the respected Mayanist type, so I was surprised that he too came to his conclusions because an extra-dimensional entity told him all about it. In his case, it was Quetzalcoatl when he was on a particularly intense ayahuasca trip, which is a DMT-containing drug, in the rainforest. The following is a quote from his book, 2012, The Return of Quetzalcoatl, page 346, where he describes this experience that he had with the spirit. He says, "Here I am," the voice said. "Who are you?" I asked this intimate alien presence. "Quetzalcoatl," it replied. As I pondered this, the voice began to dictate a message. Quetzalcoatl, or whatever spirit, demonic entity, or dissociated shard of my overwrought psyche, had taken up temporary residence inside my skull, explained that he was an imminent field of mind, a new level of consciousness, linking sacred traditions with modern thought streams, melding modern empiricism with mercurial realms of the soul at higher pirouettes of the spirit. The plumed serpent, winged avenger of the Mayan myth, had chosen this moment to alight. I was a convenient reference point, a panoptic illusion, embedded at the necessary coordinates in our space-time matrix to transmit this noospheric news. Without knowing it, I had been living with a vortex cryptic communications whose source was only now becoming apparent. The voice dictated words of shards of prophecy, explicating its viewpoint. Number 4 is David Wilcock. I've already mentioned that David Wilcock is one of the earliest proponents and popularizers of the 2012 theories, and that he also received his information from channeled sources. In his case, it was the, quote, Egyptian god Ra. In one of the channeling sessions, Ra says, the basic date for the shift corresponds to the end of the Mayan calendar, December 2012. Ra makes a suggestion that the Mayan calendar was given to the Mayans by high-level 6-density extraterrestrials so that they would have a tool with which to time the passages of these cycles. It was a good thing to know how these cycles work because they are tied in with history, says this session. The next is John Major Jenkins. Jenkins certainly credits himself as one of the originators of the 2012 stuff. He also is a regular guest on many of the 2012 shows on major television networks and major radio stations. Jenkins is supposed to be the pure science guy, or at least that's the way he is billed. But that's what made it so surprising when I found that he too was a major advocate of DMT and other shamanic experiences. And Jenkins used psilocybin mushrooms during the 1990s, during the period which he was doing the research of his, quote, magnum opus, Maya Cosmogenesis 2012. He appears to attribute to drug use his, quote, blazing new revelations about how the Maya encoded the galactic alignment of 2012 into their various institutions, end quote, which is exactly what his main premise is. Some of you might be thinking, well, all this does is prove that something significant is going to happen in 2012 because the spirit world is apparently trying to warn us about it. But my question is this: does the spirit world not know anything about science or astronomy? It's an open and shut case. See my videos 2012 Debunked or the 2012 Deception presentation to find out that the kind of galactic alignment that, say, David Wilcock is talking about happened 3 million years ago and isn't due to happen for another 30 million years, not to mention that there's no evidence that anything would happen even if it was going to happen in 2012. The kind of galactic alignment that John Major Jenkins is talking about is only from the Earth's perspective and is just a visual phenomena. There is no alignment of the planets. There is no pole shift. There is no any of this stuff. It's all a lie, and it's provably a lie. The question is, do these entities know it's a lie, or are they stupid? And the other aspect is the fact that they're calling themselves different things depending on where the person is. Like, for example, Daniel Pinchbeck was in the Amazon wanting to talk to Quetzalcoatl, and of course it was Quetzalcoatl that showed up. Or Jose Arguellas really liked Paco Votan, just discovered the tomb, and it was Mr. Votan that was talking to him. Or you can go through the many different 2012 quote-unquote prophets out there that believe in the aliens thing. It's the Pleiadians that are telling them. Or it's, as we see with David Wilcock, who is channeling Ra. And of course he believes himself to be the incarnation of Edgar Cayce, so it's all tied in with that. It's his paradigm. They are liars. This is a really good demonstration that these things are deceivers. The question then becomes, what possible motive is there for this idea of enlightenment? In fact, if you go look up channeling and find out just everybody in modern history who's done any channeling, just find the books that they've written. You're going to find a lot. There's a lot of people that do automatic writing, people that had spirits speak to them and writing down things. What you're going to find is that every single one of them had the same message about spiritual evolution, including the video that I'm about to do, David Icke. So I want you to know that there is an agenda out there, and it does have to do with enlightenment, and there's a very, very, very good reason that the New World Order wants us all to believe that it's possible for us to be evolved, because they've got something up their sleeve that most of us haven't even considered yet. And you have to be on guard against the spiritual pride of having some experience where you are told you're special and given something that you must go out on the world stage and tell everybody about, because they're just using you to go tell a message. The externalization of the hierarchy, as Alice Bailey called it. So these people don't have to be a part of the New World Order. They just have to believe that they're special and they have a message that's going to change the world. That's how this message is getting spread. In the end, the New World Order doesn't care if you know about 9/11 or fluoride. That's all bait. What they really need you to take is the part about evolution. And I'll tell you exactly why in my video about David Icke that should be out in the next month or so.